So to understand why we're doing the Regional Conservation Partnership Program here in Yamhill County, it might be helpful to know a little background on it and how we got to this point. So it started back in 2014. We had just completed a habitat conservation plan that was funded by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to look for populations of Kincaid's lupin and Fender's blue butterfly, which are both Endangered Species Act listed. So we had surveyed probably about 12,000 acres in Yamhill County to find both of these species. And so we found a good number of them, of new populations, and also along with that we did botanical surveys to establish where do we have other native plants that would be beneficial to the butterfly, and also to educate and inform landowners about what do they have on their property. Both of those species end up occurring in oak savannas like this and oak woodlands, and so that's what we were focused on surveying. And so after we found these populations, landowners were excited. We saw restoration potential to increase those populations. But yet, where do we find the funding to do that? With so many landowners interested, it wasn't possible to just apply for a small grant because these are very expensive restoration projects. And also, at the same time as finding these populations, getting landowners excited, we were also watching the continued destruction of oak habitat here in Yamhill County due to conversion to other land uses. Whether that be cutting all the oaks down to farm it, converting it into Douglas fir forests, which are much more profitable. And then another big one is conversion to vineyards. The vineyard industry is huge here in Yamhill County, and it seems to never be ending as needing more and more vineyard ground. And so we were watching bulldozers come in and just clear all of these off, which was alarming. And so then about the same time, USDA, NRCS, the Natural Resources Conservation Service, announced this new program, which was really innovative for that agency in that normally the agency administers programs and money to landowners, but in this case, other entities such as soil and water conservation districts, watershed councils, etc., were allowed to come up with locally led ideas as to what natural resource concerns were occurring there and what needed to be done to address those, as long as they coincided with a priority of NRCS. One of those priorities was rare and declining habitat, which, hey, perfect. This is what we have going on here. Oak habitat is rare and declining in that it's estimated that we only have maybe about 7% of oak woodland left in the Willamette Valley from what was here historically, and even less of oak savanna, maybe 1 or 3%. And so this was an urgent situation that we needed to address. So we applied for about $2 million and were awarded that, and had a big waiting list of landowners that were ready to sign on to that. And so that's where we got started with it.